Start!
Wuling are back with their new city car. But this city car is not a car just for China. This is for global markets.
Perfect.
So, this begs the question, can this take on the likes of the yet unreleased BYD Seagull?
Right.
And will global markets overseas be interested in a city car from someone like Wuling? Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's speak the lingo and drive the Wuling Bingo.
We know you love the Fully Charged show, so why not come along to our global live shows in 2023 and 2024? The next shows are in the UK, specifically Farnborough and Harrogate. So get your tickets today.
So I'm going to try and complete this review without using too much bingo lingo, so apologise if any comes out a bit later. As you can see, this car is in a wonderful pink colour. It's the one we chose. The car actually comes in 4 colours, 4 knock at the door. Sorry, bingo lingo. There's a pink one, the black one, the green one, and a white one. And as you can see, it's got this lovely kind of melted look to it. The BYD Seagull looks like a stormtrooper's helmet.
It's them. Blast them.
This one looks a lot softer. Now, Wuling tell me they're going after a much more female demographic with this car, and I think it looks really cute. It's got a little bit of aura about it as well. There's not really any compromise. It's a proper 4-door city car. It's got LEDs in the wing mirrors. It's got proper size wheels. It's even got fast charging. This is a really good competitive city car. Pardon me. Now, as we're driving away from the lights, as you can see, it's not exactly a racing car, but it's fine for a city car. Now, this comes in 2 different flavours with both pretty small horsepower motor figures. So the basic version comes with a 30 kilowatt motor, and that has 41 horsepower, 41, time for fun. Now, this is actually the Beast version, I'm calling it the Beast version, with a massive 55 kilowatt motor, pumping out a huge 68 horsepower, which actually is more than enough in these sorts of driving conditions. Now, where it does become a bit sticky is the motorway, because this has got a top speed limited to 62 miles per hour or 100 kilometers an hour. Motorway speed limit here is 120, so a little bit scary. So just how big is the Wuling Bingo? Well, as you can see behind me, not very. It's definitely bigger than the Wuling Mini EV that we've reviewed a few years ago, but it's a proper city car size. If I was going to put a comparison, it's like a Ford Fiesta or a Ford Ka, the last generation of Ford Ka. Both ICE cars, of course, but hopefully ones that you're familiar with. So in actual specs, this is 3,950 millimeters long, 1,708 millimeters wide, 1,580 millimeters tall. But what is important is that this, someone's chasing their dog, this wheelbase is actually quite long. It's over 2.5 meters, which means the interior space is actually really good. It's not compromised at all. So let's go and have a look at the interior. The thing with cars in the Chinese market is that they're always appealing to what the Chinese consumers want, which is very different to overseas consumers. Chinese consumers want a lot of tech, a lot of features, and European consumers are a lot more concerned about how it drives, the feeling, and everything like that. So have Wuling cracked it with this interior? I think, yes, a little bit. I don't like the brown. I don't think that's going to be a very popular colour overseas. But I think with this kind of retro futuristic kind of display over here with these chrome bits, I mean, it's all plastic, but it looks really cool. Quite minimalist, but with a little bit of flavour, a little bit of soul. I think the Bingo could do really well overseas. You don't get much in the way of features in here, but I do like you've got proper buttons for proper things up here, and they've put the less important things in here. Great visibility. The dash is actually very low down, so I can see even more. I can see the front of the bonnet there. And that's kind of basically it. Good, it just works. It's simple and featureless, but in a good way. Now, obviously at this price point, you don't get all the full fat features of a bigger car. For example, I don't have auto handbrake. So usually in a different car, or a different price point, I can put my foot hard down on the brake when I'm stopped in traffic, take my foot off, give my foot a rest and the car stays there. Not in this though, take my foot off and the car moves at the traffic lights. Now if you're in a city, I think that's a bit of a miss because you're going to be stopping and starting all the time. That kind of feature is very useful in a city car. So -1 for the Bingo. Now with this car, I'm really trying to find where the compromises have been made, because for a car this price, there has to be some pretty major, significant ones, but really I can't find any. They're just very minor, small details. Now, one thing I would complain about is perhaps the brakes. They do feel a little bit vague, and you're pushing and you're like, it's not stopping. Push, 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 and then you stop. That's a little bit of a worry for me. But you know, it's not a major concern. You're not actually going to ever go that fast that you need to really push on the brakes. The other one, you know, the steering feel, fine. It's okay, you know, it's fine for a city car. And perhaps you're thinking, oh, maybe it's really noisy or the road noise. But no, you can't hear anything. You can't hear the electric motor. You can't hear the tyres on the floor outside. It's just a very quiet, kind of easy experience. But one of the limitations of the Mini EV, the really small one, was just a little bit gutless. It didn't feel particularly safe. Great riding kind of position. Oh, here we go, bumpy. And that's kind of what this car is all about. It's taking all those learnings from the Mini EV and putting those into a car like this. So the ride, the suspension feel is much better than the Mini EV. It's obviously got bigger tyres, bigger wheels. That motor is actually not too gutless. It feels like a properly refined, actually good all-round city car. So let's say you are a driver of a car such as the Ford Fiesta, the ICE version, back home in the UK, Europe or America, then something like the Wuling Bingo is almost exactly the same feeling, apart from without the ICE engine. It's the same sort of size, same sort of refinement, dynamics. Maybe it's slightly lacking because Ford do know how to do that very well. But in terms of everything else, this is basically what a Ford Fiesta should be now. And more importantly, this is what people are going to want in the future. If you thought the front was a bit basic and lacking features, then you're in for a bit of a surprise, because in the back here, there's nothing. Nothing at all. I've got one cup holder down there. I've got a little storage space in there I can put a book in. I've got an electric window. That's it. I haven't even got anywhere to plug in my phone or charge or anything like that. But honestly, that's fine, because most of the time you're going to have kids in here. It's going to be a pretty short journey. This is not for blasting down the motorways for thousands of kilometers. I've got ISOFIX, safety features, that's what's important. I don't even have a light in here for when I open the door, but that is fine because I've got plenty of headroom. I've actually got a lot of space. I feel relatively comfortable. The seats are a little bit hard and way too brown. But other than that, it's actually a pretty good place in the back seat for an adult who's my height. Maybe Jack would struggle. I'm not sure. Let's say you've just been for a picnic, a posh picnic, and you've bought your customized luggage set for your picnic. Now these are from Elliot's personal collection, I'll have you know. And now you want to put them into the boot of the Bingo boot. So you obviously open it here, not automatic, that's fine. And there's a pretty big boot in here. It's 310 litres, but not only that, it's not only this bit here, oh no. Let me just remove these for a second, because underneath this floor, which you can take out, are two gigantic storage boxes. How good is that? This is one of the biggest boots I've ever seen, 310 litres. That is incredible, but not only that, because the back seats also fold down very easily to give you up to 790 litres of boot space. This in itself is amazing. It's massive. Look, I can even get in it. In fact, Wuling will even sell you a inflatable mattress for the car so you can sleep in it. I don't know what the obsession is with sleeping in electric cars, but they'll sell you one if you really, really want to sleep in the Bingo. One of my biggest annoyances about the Mini EV was the lack of DC or fast charging. Now luckily this does come with the DC charger included, the AC is on the other side. That's great news, but this is the top of the range model. The cheapest model still doesn't have one of these, which I think is a big mistake. Now, what I do like though that this car has a small battery, 31.9 kilowatt hours. We need more cars with smaller batteries, which are more efficient. Imagine that, a small battery which can take you over 150 miles, fantastic. What I really like though, is how long this takes to charge from 30 to 80%. Just 35 jump and jive minutes. Now that's great for city driving because you can quickly splash and dash and you don't really need to do any long charging sessions. That's what we need in our cities. More cars like this, please. Honestly speaking, after driving the Wuling Bingo today, I really do think it competes in the city car big leagues. And I know a million or so people who'd be very interested in having this in their own countries. So Wuling, if you're interested, get this shipping ASAP.